Hey everyone, we are going to have a Heuchera shoot today, and I actually think it might be Heucherella. I can't remember the name of this variety, but these are the images that we're going to create. Nice contrasty, beautiful variegation. Oh, it just makes my heart so happy to see this. And these leaves are so gorgeous, and it's really an unsung hero in the garden. They kind of sit in the shade and they have beautiful bloom stalks, but they're not necessarily something that is really used as a centerpiece, you know? So we're going to go in here and look at these, and you can see that it's kind of overexposed. I have 1/1600th of a second, ISO 500. I like it to be nice and bright so that I have a nice clean file, and I'm just really looking through to see if anything looks interesting. One of the things to note here is it's so important to shoot through the viewfinder. You know, pay attention as you're shooting. Think of, look through the frame. If you can shoot through an electronic EVF, that gives you the absolute, so you can, what you see is what you get is so helpful. And here I'm going to spray or spritz with some sparkle spray and, just continue to shoot there. I add some visual interest, and I could take any one of these images and edit them, but we're just going to kind of show you the overall method for something like this with a darker subject and light. And I'm just going in now. I'm using wide, and it's wanting to catch on this one little droplet that I don't want it to catch on. So then I'm going to go back to single spot here, or flexible spot. Oops, sorry. Don't want to make you sick. There's a lot of movement going on. I'm just really exploring it. And one of the things that I want to say is you want to spend time with your subjects. You don't want to move away. I mean, even though I'm kind of all over the place here, and I'm not sure what I'm doing there. I think I'm spraying some more. You can see my hand. Even though I'm moving around a lot, I haven't moved my feet. I'm standing in the same spot over the top of the same Heuchera plant. I'm not really moving around a whole lot at all. And I'm just changing my settings, letting the wide focus, dance around the water droplets, and then going back to single spot so I can focus on individual droplets. Pretty fun. So I guess those are mostly the shots that I've taken. So let's go into the edit. Let's take a look at our Heuchera images that we took. I'm going to jump down here. So these are just out in my front garden bed, and Heucheras are really interesting. There's Heucheras and Turellas and Heucherellas, and all of them have really pretty bloom stalks that come up in early summer, late spring, depending on where you are, and they're so beautiful. But the leaves are gorgeous as well, and so we're going to talk about that. And I just want to show you this straight out of the camera. I think I've mentioned before, but I'll mention it again. I like to shoot sort of flat because it gives me a lot of leeway when I want to add contrast. So we're going to go from something like this to something like this. I would follow the same process for all of the images that are in this series. So the first thing I want to do is add some contrast. And I'm going to move the contrast over as far as I can go and then turn on the clipping warning just to see where it's clipping. And then I'm going to try to move the histogram over a little bit. So I'm going to either use highlights or whites. In this case, I'm going to try whites. And I just move it over. I like to zoom in at 100% just to see how much detail is being lost or gained with that. And this is a rather high ISO image. It's 1600, but it's kind of deceiving because a Heuchera actually has a lot of texture. It has little hairs. It's sort of fuzzy. And so what you might think is noise is actually the hairiness of the little plant there. So let me see if I can find a close-up. See, you can see the little hairs that are kind of coming out there. It's sort of fuzzy. And that is something that, and I have some dust spots that I need to take care of if I use that one. And then I went through and sprayed, but I wanted to see there was another one in here that kind of shows the hairiness of it. Let's look at this one. So you can see how it has some texture. I thought it was noise, but then I looked over here and I realized it was pretty smooth and pretty clean. So it's really just the leaf that has that. So let's go through and edit. Again, it's mostly contrast and whites. So I'm going to go over and push the contrast and then push the whites like that. Double check my clipping and then go in and just push the vibrance over a little bit. These are, I don't know what they are. I think they might be silver gumdrop, Heucheras, Heucherellas, or I'm not sure, but they have more of a purpley red color to them. But you can see in the straight out of the camera that they have a bit of a silver sheen to them. And in person, they have a bit of a silver sheen. So I'm not sure of the exact variety. But contrast, whites, and then vibrance. And that's pretty much it. And then I like to go in with texture. I mean, that's my go-to for florals and things. I like to use texture instead of sharpening. And that's it. So it's a really fast, simple edit for something like this. But don't you just love how the variegations of shadow and light, I mean, they're just so ridiculously pretty. They're just so pretty. My heart is so happy when I see that. And look at those colors. Like, would that not look beautiful, nice and big? You know, I just think it would be gorgeous, printed big, somewhere where you can appreciate the beauty of a plant that maybe is overlooked a little bit. Anyway, that is the Heuchera shoot.